Welcome to Rebel Talks, powered by Neil Patel Digital India, your gateway to thoughts and strategies of today's most influential leaders and change makers. Today with us, we have Mr. Rathin Lahiri, Head of Marketing, SBI General Insurance. Welcome, Rathin.
Hi, I'm Rathin Lahiri. I look after marketing and CSR at SBI General Insurance. I've had an experience across consumer goods, financial services, and technology. And what interests me is the financial services space, marketing, and also startups.
Rathin has over 2 decades of experience of managing large marketing functions for global and some of the leading Indian brands, including United Spirits, DBS Bank, Kotak, and some others. He's been managing large marketing teams who've been focusing on customer acquisition, penetrating into new marketing divisions, regions, and strategies for different brands. So, Rathin, how's your experience been with these brands? And if you could, give us a quick overview about your journey over these years, that'll be great.
So the first thing I'd like to say is that, I really enjoy marketing. And that makes the job easier because, I look upon it not as a job, but as an opportunity to, just learn new stuff and, implement it and hopefully succeed around the way. There are 2-3 things which have actually shaped my career. One is, I think, like in the initial years, I began in sales, spent a lot of time understanding logistics, understanding how distribution works. And that has actually made my, marketing skills, I would say, a little more refined. So it is not just communication led, but actually, helps up in terms of driving businesses. So that's, I think, one. The second thing, again, is over my experiences at various points of time, I've got an opportunity to actually manage businesses and handle P&Ls, and that has actually given me again a perspective as to how do CEOs, how do boards think, how do you build a sustainable business, how do you kind of build the P&L, and again build not just brands for the sake of being brands, but actually use marketing to drive businesses. So that's the sum and substance of my journey so far. In terms of, I think, what I believe that marketing needs to deliver to the organization, I think one, it needs to be the voice of consumer inside the organization. That's one. And the second thing is, I think it needs to create a lot of consumer pull, which actually helps the whole organization, drive its business goals.
See, with the increase in digital means, platforms like social media, including Facebook, Instagram, a lot of people have started sharing their thoughts about brands, about their, satisfaction levels, about how their experience been with even the sales team or with the after sales team, especially, when it comes to healthcare and insurance. It is one of the fields wherein we see a lot of user-generated content being populated. So do you take, any sort of learning from the user-generated content that you see about SBI General Insurance on different platforms, or that is something that is spawned as a feedback?
No, so I think today with digital, with social, what you get is instant feedback. At SBI General, one of the things which we have instituted and we follow it very, very rigorously is the whole NPS process. So every time a transaction goes through, and this is across all our lines of businesses, we know, we take customer feedback and know exactly where we stand on the NPS score metric. NPS is a metric, again, which, the marketing team kind of runs for the organization. And we actually work very, very closely with the stakeholders, looking at that feedback on a weekly basis, and then actually working with the businesses to, make process improvements, so that the customer experience improves. So for us, social is one part, but for every transaction itself, we keep getting feedback from our customers. So that, I think, is one part of it. The second thing, what I think is very important, especially in financial services, right, is there are 2-3 legs to marketing. The first leg is consumer marketing, right? You need to build consumer awareness, preference, consideration, the typical brand metrics. The second very, very important thing, and especially for a brand like SBI General, which has got, possibly one of the largest and the most diverse distributions, is channel marketing. Health insurance, motor insurance, they are all individual products, customizable. There are lots of permutations and combinations. There are lots of new additions which are coming in, literally every month. So it is very, very important to also educate and market to the channels. And that is especially true in financial services, because you will have your product being sold by some agent in, from J&K to Nagaland to, deepest Kerala. And he needs to know what are the 3-4, important things of, every product. So the second, I think I would say is channel marketing. The third thing is around employee marketing. The way, again, for companies like us, which has such a large distribution setup, and we have like over 6,000-7,000 employees, it is again very, very important to use employees to be quasi brand ambassadors, because that's what they are in their respective markets. Coming to social, I think there's this old thing that whenever a customer is really happy about something, he may keep quiet. But if a customer is dissatisfied, he will definitely speak up, right? And I think the number is 5x or 7x or whatever. So I think one of the things we find is that on social media, you get a lot of customer feedback, could be customer complaints. But that is something we have a process of kind of, working through it. We are very, proud to say that at our heart, we have actually one of the best claim settlement ratios in the industry. Our processes are as digital. Our renewals are, fully digital. So I would say that compared to the size and scale that we have, actually the complaints that we have is actually far lower than, one would expect for a company of our size.
Cool. See, you've talked about topics that are related to customer satisfaction, renewals and all. Now, when we talk about boards, or if we talk about any marketing team, there are a few topics that are close to their heart, like strategy, execution, how the execution is going to happen for a plan. What is your go-to marketing strategy for all? So how do you think omnichannel approach has helped businesses, or is helping, or, probably putting an adverse reaction towards marketing, or how things are done in today's marketing world for brands like SBI or maybe likes of it?
So I would say that, if you only focus on the digital channel, or even let's say the offline channel, you are reaching out to a certain set of customers, right? The fact is, a market like India, you have diverse set of customers who are at various stages in their own digital journey, right? And for a brand which aims to be a market leader like SBI General, we want to be available at any place where the customer is interested in buying our product. So be it, via our agents, be it via channel partners, be it via banks, be it via online platforms, be it via our own website and app. So I think the first thing is, for companies which aim to be, market leaders or top 3, top 4, top 5 companies, it is very, very important to have an omni-channel approach, because the customers are omni-channel. So that's one. The second thing I think is, again, it has to do with the product category, right? So there are certain products which are kind of easy to, buy digitally, they are standardized products. There is very little differentiation between them. If you look at something like health insurance, for example, it's a absolutely customizable product, because even if there are two people who are 35 years old, their health metrics could be different. Their family sizes would be different. Somebody would be in a corporate job and maybe would have partial cover by their company. Somebody would, be a businessman and not have that cover. So the choices that they would make for the same demographic would be very, very different. And again, the lifestyles would be very, very different. right? So therefore, I think I would say a little more complicated, complex products like health insurance, because you want to make sure when you're taking that insurance, you're buying also not just health insurance, but also buying the right cover. It is really, really important that, and it might actually be better that you go to a trusted advisor, whether be it an agent, whether be it, an online platform, and, take that advice and then decide on what to buy. And that again is back to, what we want to serve, which is be available with the right information, across all our channels.
Well, that's a great insight. If you were to ask you about a couple of advices or a few lessons that you would like to give to the new age marketers, I mean, people who are starting up with their career in marketing field, any sort of advice that you have for them?
So I think the India of today offers massive opportunities, right? Which was not there even 10 years ago or 15 years ago and 20 years ago. So I think that's the one thing that today, for a marketer or for anybody else actually, there are massive opportunities in India which were just not there earlier. Now, how do you kind of make the most of these opportunities? The first thing I think is to have a skill, right? To be good and to be really good at something. Now, in the context of marketing, it could be that somebody is very good in terms of social, and there is this one guy in the team who can figure out, okay, I will do X, Y, Z. I will work with these partners. I'll work with these platforms. I'll work with these, influencers, and see that our social reach, our social engagement goes up from X to 5X or 3X or whatever that number is. Or it could be in terms of digital marketing, or it could be somebody in terms of PR, or it could be somebody in terms of, content, or it could be somebody in terms of, analytics. So the first thing is skills. To me, that is very, very important, that you have to be good at something, right? Which is specific. That's one. The second thing I think is around, especially for young people who are, kind of starting out, is execution, right? So typically, you want somebody in your team who can get stuff done, right? Once you tell that guy that, okay, this is what we've decided on, this is what we want to do for a month, for a quarter, X, Y, Z, you have to have a guy in the team who can get stuff done. So if you are known as one of the guys who can get stuff done, that actually has massive value in the organization, right? So that I think was the second thing. The third thing is, I think if you are able to get a mentor, if I look back on my career, I think, if I had a mentor, I would have probably, taken some different career choices and so on. So I think from hindsight, if you are able to get hold of someone who's ahead in the career path, who's far more successful, and get him to just bounce off ideas of you, that I think has massive value. And the fourth thing, which I think, again, given the fact that India has so many opportunities, is around if you can just think long term, right? Today, any person who's starting out and who can plan for not a 5-year career, but a 10, 15-year career, in those 10 years and 12 years, you can achieve almost anything. But if you're constantly looking at, here's a job which gives me 20% more salary, here's a job which gives me work from home, those tactical stuff, you're going to miss out the big picture for these optimization. So these are, I think, a few of the advice which I would personally give.
So Rathin, you are a thought leader, right? You speak at a lot of events and, different forums, and this actually enables you to exchange ideas with leaders of different brands and people who've built successful businesses. And of course, it actually enables you to advance yourself as well. Having said that, what excites Rathin when it comes to, modern age marketing activities? Any specific platform, or do you think digital transformation has led people to change the way they used to think about marketing, and, accordingly they are building their new campaigns? Any sort of, perspective that you would like to add on this point?
So I think the goal of marketing has always been about creating demand and creating consumer pull, right? And today, for example, you have digital marketing, you have social media marketing, you have influencer marketing, you have lots of these individual streams which have come in, right? And most of them have variable costs attached to it, right? And because there are variable costs attached to it, and that variable cost is the same across competitors. So if somebody is bidding on a bunch of keywords, the smallest company and the largest company is bidding for the same kind of keywords. There is not much differentiation, right? Therefore, the role of marketing, seems to be that, what can you do to create not just variable proportionate forms of marketing where you get 10 customers at 100 rupees a customer, but how can you do some activity by which you get 500 or 1,000 customers in one go? And that is around organic marketing. And therefore, I think that while tactics have all, kind of changed and will change even more, the core kind of remains the same, that how do you understand consumer needs, one? How do you find out what is really most relevant for the consumer? And can your brand kind of match up and deliver that? And B, differentiate itself versus competition. And then how can you, reach out to that consumer segment using offline, online, connected TV, all kinds of stuff, tools which are available to, essentially, build that consumer pull. And the second thing is then for companies which have a large franchise like ours is how do you take that residual consumer who's already been your customer for the last 5 years, 10 years, and use that to again create referral, use a lot of word of mouth, which again becomes a part of organic marketing. So I think in short, the true marketing is around creating consumer pull and marrying both digital marketing and, your traditional or offline marketing to essentially, build the brand and then, drive the business forward.
So can you share any example or any campaign that you led which actually was derived from this approach and has actually been a successful one?
Yeah. So let me just talk about, what we are doing in SBI General currently, right? So we have just recently crossed 12,000 crores. So we are essentially doing 1,000 crores of business a month. We have a omnichannel strategy. So we are available with, premium banks, with private sector banks, with SBI, which is, our leading bank assurance partner, with fintech platforms, cutting across from PhonePe to Policy Bazaar to others, to agents and so on. So we have a very, very wide and vast distribution network, right? Now, what is the role of marketing? The role of marketing is to essentially, communicate the benefits of products of selected categories and products that we take into the channels. So one key part of, what we do is around channel marketing, so that we are able to, to the right channel partners, offer the right products at the right price points, which is relevant for that customer segment, right? So that is one key part, which happens, without any press ads and TV ads and stuff happening. And today, again, we use a lot of digital, a lot of smaller films, a lot of content marketing, use channels like WhatsApp and so on to kind of, communicate to these partners, because these guys are actually in touch with the customer, right? So that is one part. The second part is that today, for most of us, even we may buy on any particular channel, but we will typically Google it or, search for it, on the web. So therefore, content marketing and being available with the right content, having a good SEO strategy is very, very important, so that the consumer can actually, get the right information without having to, search too long for it. And that is a continuous process for us, right? So for us, again, in digital marketing, one very important part is ensuring that via SEO, we are able to, serve up the right content which is relevant for the customers. The second is around using social. So one of the things what we do is because we are part also of the overall SBI group, which is the largest financial franchise in India. I think almost 1 in 3 Indians have a connection with the SBI brand name. So anything that we do on social, one of the things you realize has got massive, reach. So we use social again to tell simple stories, which then connects with this, audience, which is part of the whole franchise and with whom we want to kind of reach, kind of going forward. So that's the second part. The next piece is using CRM, using, data-based analytics to, serve up to our customers and provide them opportunities so that they can upsell and take products of the right value. So that is something I think we have still early in our stages. We have begun a whole bunch of work around it. But I think that is one thing for the next 12, 15 months is something that we're really, really looking to kind of work on. And the last part is around, building the overall brand so that whenever any consumer is looking to buy a motor insurance, looking to buy a health insurance, looking to buy a home insurance, that, we, would like to be the most preferred, brand in that category. And the last piece is that, insurance is a very low penetrated product. And therefore, as more and more consumers kind of come into the category, we want to be seen as the most preferred brand, which they will consider for all their general insurance need, be it health, be it motor, be it household, be it cyber insurance, and so on. So therefore, there's a whole bunch of traditional marketing, which we are doing, so that, whenever consumers come into the category, they look upon this brand as the one to, to prefer.
Insightful. Rathin, at times, we work with a lot of BFSI and NBFC clients, and insurance is one of the segment that we have close focus on. While we are having discussion with CMOs of these brands and all, one of the common feedback that we've heard from these people is that despite having a strong brand equity and a substantial value in the market for the brand name, they still face certain challenges in connecting with certain type of audience. These audience either don't pay too much attention to disclaimers or probably product brochures, or they really don't want to pay attention to it. So connecting with them, making them apprised on what a overall product prospect is or prospectors are, it becomes challenging. Any sort of suggestion you have for marketers to which can help them or which can enable them to connect with this audience? Typically, people who don't pay too much attention on the long paperwork that happens while somebody is buying insurance, or people who at times while they are claiming their insurance, they see all of a sudden get surprised that this particular object or this particular claim could not get passed because of so and so disclaimer or clause which was there in the contract, which initially the person did not go through. Any advice that you would like to share to the marketers that can help them connect these dots and connect with these kind of audience?
Yeah. So I think the first thing is that this category is the health insurance business, the motor insurance business. If you see, is one of the fastest growing categories at this scale in India. The overall industry is growing at some 14% odd. And it's over 2.5 lakh crore industry. So it's a massive industry growing very, very rapidly. So that's what I mean, that there are lots and lots of opportunities. Within that, I think every company has a certain core customer segment and profile, right? And it is better to, mean a lot to that segment than try to, be, everything for everyone, right? So I think what is really, really important is for companies to know which are the segments which have the best affinity with the brand and focus on them to start with. You will always have, detractors and so on, but in a category which is growing so rapidly, it is better to focus on your core segments and deepen the relationships with them than, focus on some adjacent customers, who would anyway kind of, not really be interested in you. So I think that is one part. The second part, like I said, and what you mentioned is around that this is a complicated, complex category, right? And there are issues where a lot of consumers themselves may not know about their own health parameters, right? I think I was asking somebody some time back that why isn't, health insurance more popular in India, and why haven't all of us taken it at 30 when, we are fit and fine and our pricing would be possibly the best? Why do we wait to take it, when it's almost too late to kind of, take health insurance? And the answer I got was that, that Indians are optimistic. And they said, because they're optimistic, they think that, nothing will happen to me, mujhe kuch nahi hoga, right? And therefore, they think of health insurance and all, kind of taking it very, very late. So I think in this category, a lot needs to be done to educate the customer of people who are kind of considering this, right? And again, what are the channels for education? So the web and content is one part of education. But again, one that needs to be done in a very, very simplistic manner. The second part, like I said, is a lot of people in this category will speak to somebody who's already taken a health insurance. And therefore, what I mentioned that, having your own customers as ambassadors of your product, of your category, knowing that they've had a good experience is actually a very, very critical part, because he is the person who can either say yes to, 10 or 20 of his acquaintances, or say no to, whoever asks him. So that is a very, very critical part. And the third part, like I said, is in a lot of cases, people will go to their bank and, the banker is the trusted source of information of most financial products. And therefore, again, channel marketing therefore becomes a key part. But the heart of it is that one, in a category like this, one needs to educate consumers on, what are the 5-6 things that one needs to look out before one takes the product. One. Second is also, I think, companies need to do a lot more in terms of once somebody has actually taken the product, as to what are the 3-4 tips which are there so that one can actually stay healthy, so that one hopefully doesn't need to use that product. And I think that's something, again, going forward, we're looking to kind of, work on.
Great. One of the strokes that we discussed or you shared initially was employer branding. I mean, I get to hear that a lot nowadays. How do you foster a positive environment and a culture in the organization or camaraderie between employees that you have?
Yeah. So I think, this is not a marketing question. This is a people question. Absolutely. Right. Right. And I think the only way this works is that if each team leader or, each person looks at his own team and manages and, builds a good working relationship and a working atmosphere within, that subgroup. There's this old saying that, people don't leave organization, people leave bosses, right? So I think it has to, kind of be managed and be done at a individual level, and that would cut across all functions, right? What is the role of marketing? Or what role can marketing play in this? To my mind, all of us, we spend virtually, most of our lives, most of our weeks in our jobs, right? We leave from home and like early in the morning, get back, have dinner, crash, watch some TV, crash and, get back. So that's where our lives are spent. And most people, I genuinely believe, want to feel good about the place that they work, because at some point they would have chosen it, right? Now, I think what marketing can play a big role in is actually highlighting successes and successes of the company, more important, successes of the various teams and successes of the various people right, within the organization. And that could be, highlighting people via PR, but even using internal communications as a big pillar to highlight small successes, big successes that teams do. And that's something that we very, very actively do, within the company, so that anybody who's done some great, activity, it could be sales related, it could be claim support related, it could be, operations related, where, somebody has gone over and above the call of duty and, ensured that, that work was kind of done in time. Highlight that within the organization, because, that's how you make that person feel good and feel valued. And I think that is really, really, important.
Well, thanks for sharing insights about marketing activities and how your experience has shaped up your career over these years. One last thing about you personally, right? Despite having a busy schedule, what do you like, or what do you enjoy doing in your spare time?
So, I really enjoy marketing. As a result, and marketing to my mind is about, human behavior. I enjoy reading a lot, and I read almost anything and everything. It could be economics, politics, history. History is a big favorite of mine. To about food, about, all of it. So reading is a very big part. The other thing is, spending time with my family. I have one son. He's a teenager now, so a large part of, my personal time is, trying to stay fit so that I can, kind of match up to whatever he does. But spending time with family, travel, again, is a big... and I think the last thing, like all Indians, I mean, I love watching cricket. I love watching IPL. I'm a big football fan. I actually stayed up last night till, 3 a.m. watching Manchester City lose. But that's it. Yeah. So...
All right. Thank you so much, Rathin. Thanks for having, or sparing time for us and being on the show. Thank you so much for that. For our viewers, thank you so much for tuning in and sparing your time. Please stay in touch and tune in for the next round of podcast. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much.
Bye.